us briefly about your new film, The Entertainment System is Down.
It's a film that takes place on a long-haul flight from London to Sydney. So it's the longest direct flight in the world. And quite soon after takeoff, the entertainment system stops working. So it's going to investigate a little bit on how modern human beings are dealing with not being able to distract ourselves. So I'm going to look on both on an individual level, what happens when we take away the entertainment. It's a couple that is dealing with some issues. And then also on a society level, the crew and the passengers of the plane. So it's a little bit of a conceptual film. In the same approach that I've done before, like behavioristic study, looking at human being. And as soon as you do that with a little bit of a distance, it becomes very comical.
And what do you think the audience will have? What kind of reactions do you hope for the audience?
Well, one thing that I'm planning is that to create the biggest walkout in the history of Cannes Film Festival. Because there's a scene where when there's a family with two daughters, and there's only one iPad with battery, and the girls in this, the siblings, they are starting to fight who is going to have the iPad. And the father, he's like trying to deal with it, and at one point he says, hey, you have to take turns. And he says, okay, I'm going to take time, 10 minutes, it's your turn in 10 minutes, so 10 minutes from now. And from being in a film that have been told in a dynamic, normal pace, we end up in a real-time shot where I want the audience in the cinema to understand, it's us that are challenged. He is not going to cut now. Is he going to stay in this shot for 10 minutes? And there's a famous scene in an Ingmar Bergman movie that is called The Hour of the Wolf, where the characters have a hard time sleeping at night. And he says, 1 minute is a very long time. It starts now. And then you spend in a real time with him 1 minute. And in this case then, is it going to be 10 minutes? And then after a while, I have a really good plan for this. After a while, the kid starts to Papa, I can't stand this. And he goes like, you know what? I'm going to restart the watch every time I hear a single word from you. So then he goes and says, 10 minutes from now. And I think it's interesting with pace. And I think it's interesting with if you have made an agreement about the pace and you break that agreement, I think it's going to be very, very provocative. I think it's going to be much more provocative than sexual content or violent content, etc., etc. So that is one of the things that I hope the audience is going to be.
And last question, is it true that you bought an airplane?
Yes, we bought a Boeing 747. And
where do you have it?
Well, it's not possible to fly it anymore, unfortunately. It's a plane that's grounded, and I was on an airport in the north of London. And we are going to build up the interior in a studio. Because one thing that I want to do in this film is that I don't want to have that feeling of, the studio sections when you're shooting in an airplane. I want to actually build the whole airplane so we can do long tracking shots. So we're going to demount the plane, put it in a container, ship it to the studio where we're going to shoot it, and build it up there.